Every octopus is a masterclass in survival, but the deeper you go, the more the designs get creepy. This is a vertical descent into evolutionary extremes, moving from the light-drenched coast into the crushing, lightless void. Most assume the danger scales with the size of the beast, but the most precise lethality waits in the shallows. To comprehend the anomalies of the abyss, the timeline must begin at the beach, where a microscopic beak delivers the ocean's first flawless assassination. Greater Blue-Ringed Octopus. In the sunlit shallows of the Indo-Pacific, a soft-bodied creature no larger than a teacup is trapped in a high-traffic kill zone. It has no armor. It cannot outrun a predator. We see the iridescent blue rings and assume they inject poison. They do not. Those rings are merely the billboard, the final, vibrant warning that a fatal error has already been made. The actual weapon is delivered via a microscopic bite from a hidden, chitinous beak. Deep within its salivary glands, symbiotic bacteria are constantly synthesizing tetrodotoxin. The moment this compound enters a wound, it physically jams the voltage-gated sodium channels in the victim's motor neurons. It is a masterpiece of clinical efficiency. A single specimen carries enough payload to shut down the respiratory systems of 26 adult humans in under 20 minutes. There is no antidote. Survival depends exclusively on a machine breathing for you. And the true horror lies in the neurology. The toxin does not cross the blood-brain barrier. You are trapped in a completely intact neurological loop, receiving every sensory input while stripped of all motor output. You remain fully lucid, locked inside a paralyzed biological shell, aware of the fading surface light as you systematically suffocate. While a heat-resistant anomaly is currently feeling its way through boiling toxic acid at the bottom of the world, surviving the Twilight Zone requires a different kind of architectural genius. Glass Octopus. The open pelagic zone is a three-dimensional void. No cover, no cave, no place to hide. Predators hunt by looking upward, scanning for the dark silhouettes of prey blocking the faint surface light. To survive in this nightmare, this organism simply deleted its own shadow. It achieved near-absolute transparency by abandoning the light-scattering cellular structures that give standard cephalopods their form. Every unnecessary cell was systematically purged. Optic nerves and digestive tracts must physically exist and cannot vanish. Evolution solved this by compressing them to the absolute extreme. The digestive gland is shifted to hang vertically, turning it into a narrow sliver that casts almost zero shadow from below. The eyes are stretched into elongated rectangular tubes, drastically shrinking their opaque footprint. It is a phantom navigating the crushing depths, operating on the exact geometric principles human engineers eventually developed for stealth aircraft, minimizing its cross-section against anything tracking it from the lower hemisphere. Mimic Octopus. When stationary camouflage fails, the environment forces a shift to special tactics. This organism runs an adaptive stealth system, rapidly switching its physical profile to hijack the threat recognition of a hostile unit. It isn't acting, it is executing an inherited, genetically hardwired survival algorithm. It runs a real-time threat analysis on the approaching predator, dynamically deploying the specific nightmare guaranteed to make that exact attacker abort the hunt. It calculates the distance, the angle of approach, and the specific visual acuity of the threat before selecting its disguise. By instantaneously altering its proprioceptive arm positioning and movement geometry, it forcefully contorts its body to replicate the silhouettes of the neighborhood's most toxic residents. It flares out like a venomous lionfish. It flattens to glide like a toxic soul. It buries its center, leaving two arms trailing to perfectly mimic a lethal banded sea snake. Blanket Octopus. For a microscopic organism drifting in the open ocean, size dictates survival. Being barely 2 centimeters long is a death sentence. To counter this, the male of this species engages in biological necromancy. It targets the Portuguese man-o'-war, a floating terror armed with venomous nematocysts that trigger immediate tissue necrosis. This octopus is born with absolute immunity to that specific toxin. It amputates the venomous tentacles and claims them. Holding these severed, toxic limbs with its suckers, wields them through the dark water against larger pelagic predators. The female operates on a completely different scale, growing up to 2 meters long. Her massive visual decoy is designed to artificially inflate her threat signature. Under physical stress, the web tears away, leaving attackers with a mouthful of dead tissue while she escapes into the abyss. Telescope Octopus. Also living in the deep, this octopus is a hunter. To find its prey, it developed unique eyes. It is the only known octopus equipped with tubular, telescoping eyes extending directly out from the cranium. These ocular stalks are independently rotatable, allowing the organism to constantly scan a full hemisphere above it without exposing its own position. The vision is hyper-optimized for stereoscopic depth perception. Coconut Octopus. Foraging on a completely flat, sandy seabed with zero natural cover leaves an organism totally exposed. If there is nowhere to hide, it must construct and haul its own mobile bunker. This organism demonstrates anticipatory tool use. It actively excavates, cleans, and assembles discarded coconut shells or bivalve halves, carrying them over long distances for future utility. It calculates structural integrity, favoring halves that lock together seamlessly. To maintain maximum speed while hauling this heavy, unwieldy armor, it utilizes bipedal locomotion. Rolling the shell segments under its body, it walks rapidly across the open sand on 2 arms while keeping the other 6 tightly wrapped around its payload. It operates as mechanized infantry, lugging a rapidly deployable blast shelter across a hostile combat zone, ready to clamp the halves shut the moment a shadow crosses the sand. Giant Pacific Octopus. In near-freezing temperatures of the North Pacific, tissue becomes sluggish and fails. Crushing armored prey in this environment needs lots of energy and caused a complete redesign of the circulatory engine. To operate, it runs a high-pressure, closed circulatory system powered by 3 independent hearts. Instead of iron, its blood relies on copper-based hemocyanin. The copper blood binds oxygen with a ruthless chemical efficiency, acting as a biological antifreeze coolant to ensure maximum oxygen transport to dense muscle tissue at 3 degrees Celsius. The resulting physical power is terrifying. Each arm is lined with up to 280 independent suckers. A single large sucker can deadlift 16 kilograms. When it wraps around a target, it deploys a synchronized array of immense hydraulic vacuum pressure, generating a localized force that easily exceeds the structural limits of human bone and cartilage. Deep-sea vent octopus. But the freezing depths are hospitable compared to the fractured, toxic hazard zones of the abyssal plain, where a completely blind anomaly navigates a landscape that should instantly dissolve it. At depths exceeding 2,600 meters, the ocean floor tears open. Hydrothermal vents on the East Pacific Rise spew black smoke into the abyss. This environment is defined by crushing hydrostatic pressure, lethal concentrations of heavy metals, and a temperature gradient violently clashing between 2 degrees and 350 degrees Celsius. The ambient hydrogen sulfide levels here would trigger immediate, fatal central nervous system failure in any other not adapted creature. In permanent darkness, vision is a liability. This 15-centimeter eyeless predator utilizes toxic black smoker plumes as a navigational beacon. Navigating the razor-thin margin between freezing water and boiling death, it maps the lethal landscape of heavy metal toxicity and thermal extremes using only the chemosensory arrays etched into its arms. It functions as an autonomous, biological rover, a blind engineer of the abyss, plunging its limbs into a liquid furnace to hunt amphipods in the blistering heat.